In this video, I'm going to talk about something called the Object Properties menu. Now on the screen, I have a construction I built in the previous video. So we've got a rectangle that we built using some of the tools from the construction toolbar. The Object Properties menu allows you to change various properties of each one of the objects that you have in your construction. So right now, our construction, it doesn't look ugly, but it could look a lot prettier. So if I want to change visual aspects of maybe this line right here, if I right click, it'll pull open a menu, and at the bottom there's a link for object properties. And if I click on that, it'll pull open a side menu. It'll pull open a side menu, and notice that there's a bunch of tabs at the top. So this is like another menu where you can change various aspects of this object. So I'm going to move my graphics view a little bit so we can see our line that we have selected. And in the basic tab, you can change various things about this. For example, you can change the name of this line. You can give it a caption. You could hide. There's a checkbox for the show label. You can actually hide the label. So if we look down here, we've got a label for this line. And if we uncheck the show label, it's going to make that label disappear. There's various options for what to show. You can also make an object be traced as it moves using this option. Now the next tab is for color, which is relatively self-explanatory. We can make this line red. So if we click on red, notice that our line turns red. There's a style tab, and one of the options is line thickness, which again is pretty self-explanatory. You can also change the opacity of the line. There's options for line style, like we can make it a dashed line, and so on. The Advanced tab has some advanced features, like the first option, Condition to Show Object. This is something I'm going to spend a whole video on, so I won't discuss it here, but there's some advanced options here that you might go in and look around at. One important one from this Advanced tab is the Location options, which allows you to choose which views an object is visible in. So notice in the Algebra view, this line G is showing up. And that's because it's checked in this Location option. If I uncheck Algebra, it's going to make that line disappear from the Algebra view. So if I click it again, it's going to reappear. And if I uncheck it again, it's going to make it disappear. Now there's an Algebra tab, which I'll let you explore yourself. You can change like the algebraic form of different objects. And then there's a scripting tag, or a scripting tab, where it allows you to add some scripting to various objects. And this is an advanced feature that I'll cover in its own video. Now, if you click on another object, like if I click on point B, the tabs might change a little bit based on the type of object. So for example, the style, now instead of line thickness, we've got point size, and we could change maybe the face of this point. So the options within this object properties is going to be dependent upon the object you have selected. So if you click off of any object, so if you click somewhere in the graphics view that's not on an object, then you're going to have some options that aren't relative to any specific object, but rather the graphing view. So for example, we have dimensions where we can change the dimensions of the graphing view. You could change the ratio of the x-axis to the y-axis. There's a checkbox. You could actually hide the axes. So notice that this is going to turn on and off those axes. You can make it bold. You could choose a pretty color. Maybe we choose purple. And now our axes are purple instead of black. And there's a handful of other different options. Like for example, there's a background color where we could actually change the background of our entire view to be a different color. Sometimes this can be helpful. Most of the time you'll probably just keep this as a default white. There's also options for various x-axis properties, y-axis properties. Then you have control over the grid as well. So you could actually use major grid lines only. You can change the color of the grid. Again, maybe we want to do something funky like green grid lines. And now we've got a lot of control over the way things look. So I'm going to close out of this menu with the X over here. And one of the things we notice, this will save us some time, is there's an option, a little menu button over on this right-hand side, and this allows you to control some of the same things that was in the previous menu. So if I click on this button, it toggles the axes. If I click on this, we can change what type of grid we have. And if we click on an object, like maybe this red line, we also have some control over the basic features. So like we could change this to green, maybe we want it to be solid again, and maybe we want the value of this line to be shown. So we have some of the basic visual components from this little toggleable toolbar.